Good job, Saucony. Don't mess it up on the Pro 4. I've seen some pictures floating around on Instagram. Hello friends, and welcome to the channel. It's Ioana from Supwell, and today I will be giving you my thoughts on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. So take it back to last year. I was training for my first ever marathon, and I'd fallen in love with the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 for my faster daily training and for some of my workouts. And when the Pro 3 came out, I knew it was only the logical next step to choose this bad boy for my race day shoe. So throughout my marathon build last year, I pulled it for some of my bigger long runs, and I pulled it for my tune-up races leading into the Charlotte Marathon. I personally love the way that this thing looks. It has a very classic, almost preppy, old school collegiate race day vibe to it. It has this mesh upper that has a pattern on it like an old school basketball jersey with these holes. And then it also has this sparkly pattern and texture woven through the upper. Overall, Saucony's design team knocked it out of the park with these. They look super clean, classic. There's nothing unnecessary or extra on them. They just get the job done well. The Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 has a bouncy, firm, and cushioned ride. So this foam in the midsole here is their Power Run PB compound, which is a beaded PBA. You can see little beads all throughout the midsole here. It's almost like a pebbled texture. And that is combined with a full-length carbon plate that goes through the midsole. So when you're riding on this, it's soft because of the midsole foam and cushioned, but because the way that the carbon plate interacts with it gives you a nice pop. And you can see that there's a rockered forefoot at the front. So when you really start getting up into those faster training and race day paces, it moves you along nicely and helps you slide into a beautiful rhythm with your stride. The Endorphin Pro 3 fits true to size for me. I'm a 10.5 men's in all of my running shoes, and this one is no different. But because it is a race day shoe, it has a snugger, tighter, more rocket-like feel when I lace it up. There's not as much room in the toe box as a traditional daily trainer might have, but then again, it's not as tight as something like the Adidas Takumi Sen 8 or even the Nike Vaporfly. Both of those really lock down on top of my foot. This does feel a bit roomier and more forgiving, which could be a good option for someone with a wider foot. I personally have a narrow to medium-sized foot. I've never had an issue getting into anything being either too tight or too loose in a 10.5, so this fits me perfectly. The tongue is also gusseted, which is really nice. It's you can see here, it's tied down on both sides of the upper, and it's a bit stretchy, which creates a nice feeling in here. It's not gonna be too tight when you lace them up. And then it does have enough padding with flatter laces, so you're not gonna get any of that lace bite. The upper does not have a ton of padding, but it does have a nice bit of a structured heel collar in the back here, which mixed with a slightly wider base on the heel provides a nice planted, stable platform when you land. So this is a great option for either heel strikers who might be landing back on the platform here, or more of that midfoot to forefoot striking runner who's gonna land up here and benefit from the rocker to get them into the next phase of their gait cycle. I've had this pair since November of last year. It is now June 2023, and so it's been about 6 months of solid use in my rotation. I wasn't running for a while, and they have somewhere between 125 to 175 miles on them. And the foam still feels as fresh as day one, maybe even better because it's broken in a little bit. And the carbon plate, very resilient, is not losing any of its pop. One area where we are starting to see some wear, which happens in all of my running shoes, if you watch my Saucony Endorphin Shift 3 review, I have the same issue, but I'm starting to wear down on the outside back corner of the rubber here, just because of the way that I land with these higher stack shoes. This is a high contact area for me. but through the forefoot and the midfoot, I'm not seeing any abrasion on the foam itself. And it is sturdy because, you know, I run outside, but other than that, there's not much wear and tear on these. Now, I predict that these will go until 350, 400 miles. For me, I typically will take a shoe to about 300 and start seeing some performance degradation from there. Like the Saucony Endorphin Shift 3 is starting to lose a little bit of life in the foam. But if you're someone who wants to buy one pair of racers and use them for the next 3 years, the Saucony Endorphin Shift 3 is a great option for that. Unlike other shoes that I've run in and raced in, like the Nike Vaporfly Next % 2, this firm is a bit more durable. When you land on the heel, it's not going to immediately fly off, and there is a better, more comprehensive covering of outsole rubber on this. So when you're landing, the foam is getting more protection than it would for something like the Nike Vaporfly 2 or 3. In my experience, I've raced in these everything from 5K time trial up through my first marathon. And where I really love to use these is on my long runs, where I'm gonna be doing a bit of pace. So right now in my training plan, I'm self-coached and my goal is to do 16 weeks of 16-mile long runs. And so some weeks I'll do those at an aerobic pace, other weeks I'll mix in some half marathon pace or marathon pace in there. And so on those weeks where I'm doing a long run with pace, I will pull this and use this as my shoe of choice. It's light enough so that throughout the whole long run, I'm not getting fatigue on those legs. And then when I want to pick up the pace, the foam, the bounce, the pop and everything is just perfect for being able to get up to that half marathon or marathon pace in these. When I do my warm-up or cool-down portion on those runs, which is usually 4-mile warm-up or a 6-mile cool-down, this feels great as well because it's a higher stacked foam, it's a bit softer and more cushioned. It's not going to beat up the legs and feel as weird to run in at a slower pace than another speed-oriented shoe that I have in my rotation, like the Vaporfly or the Takumi Sen. If you are newer to the running and competitive racing scene and you're looking for a shoe that can take you to your first marathon or even a couch to 5K and you want to feel fast, or you're training for a specific event like the 10K or half marathon, this is a great option. You can run all of your long runs in it, you can do your midweek workouts in it, and then you can do your races in it as well. Very versatile, extremely comfortable, highly cushioned, top tier racer to add to your rotation. My final thoughts on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 is that this is an excellent racer for runners of all ability levels. With Saucony introducing the Endorphin Elite, which is $50 more at $275, this now represents their second race day choice. I think it's excellent value at that $225 price point. We see a lot of racers on the market around $250, like the Adidas racer, the Asics racers, and even other options that are more foot friendly like Ultra as well. They're all around that $250 mark. So to get a solid top tier carbon plated racer for $225 to me is a bargain. Sounds a bit crazy, but it is. With the PIBA midsole foam in here as well, very cushioned, highly responsive, and highly durable platform. Cannot recommend this one enough. So good job, Saucony. Don't mess it up on the Pro 4. I've seen some pictures floating around on Instagram. We'll see how they do with that one. So let me know your thoughts, like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.